1924, a deadly ex-spy who killed 57 people before vanishing into obscurity is pulled back into a world she tried to escape. Yuri Ozone thought her days as an assassin were behind her, until a young boy appears, carrying a secret worth 160 million yen, stolen documents that could cripple Japan's war machine, and a connection to the one man she ever loved. As the Imperial Army hunts them through the streets of Tokyo, Yuri discovers the boy's father is none other than her lost love, who faked his death to wage a one-man war against military expansion. Now, with elite soldiers closing in from every direction and her past colliding violently with the present, Yuri must use every deadly skill she once wielded to protect the child and honor a fallen hero's dream of peace. This is a breathtaking tale of sacrifice, redemption, and the fierce loyalty of a broken warrior who discovers that some battles are worth dying for, especially when they're fought not for revenge, but for a future worth living. Before we dive in, hit subscribe for more stories of loyalty, love, and revenge. The film opens with a young woman, Ozone Yuri, a deadly ex-spy, picking out a memorial dress for her ex-husband. Yuri joined the Shidanara agency in Taiwan at age 16, where she was trained into a lethal weapon. In her 3 years of service, she successfully killed 57 important people around the world, making her one of the most wanted assassins. This forced her to abandon her life as a spy and disappear after her husband passed away. Yuri now lives in Tokyo and runs a small brothel. However, a recent event may be pushing her to pick up her gun again. While watching TV one day, she sees the news of the mass murder of the Hosomi family in Chichibu and the claim that the perpetrator committed suicide. Earlier that day, a group of men had broken into the Hosomi family house in search of Kinya Hosomi. After forcefully getting information that he had left for Shanghai an hour earlier, their leader orders his men to kill the family and search for Kinya's son, Shinta. Luckily, Shinta was in the basement when the men arrived, allowing him to escape. Yuri doesn't believe that Tsutsui Kunimatsu, the man alleged to be the murderer, could have done it. She knows him too well. She met Kunimatsu at the Shidanara Onashi agency. Determined to uncover the truth, she asks her attorney, Iwami, to help her investigate. She also decides to travel to Chichibu to see things for herself. When Yuri arrives in Chichibu, she notices that Japanese soldiers are searching intensely for the little boy. Meanwhile, Shinta is on the run in the city, scared and alone. When he boards a train, some men dressed like those who killed his family catch him and try to arrest him. Fortunately, Yuri is also on the train. She intervenes, kills the men with ease, and escapes with Shinta. 2 men chase after them. She quickly outsmarts them and knocks them out. When she examines their guns, she realizes they're military weapons. Shinta, in frustration, tries to shoot the men, but Yuri kicks the gun out of his hands and asks where he got it. The boy says his father gave it to him. On their way, Shinta stops to rest after a long walk and reveals that his father had instructed him to go to Tamanoi in Tokyo and find a woman named Yuri Ozone. Yuri calls Iwami and instructs him to run a background check on Kinya Hosomi, Shinta's father. The military seems to be after him, and she wants to find out why the army has an interest in the family. She also asks him to find out the connection between Kunimatsu and Kinya. After the call, she realizes Shinta has disappeared. The boy, wandering through the city, is captured by Japanese soldiers. Yuri finds them just in time, maims the soldiers, and rescues him. She then reveals that she's the woman he's looking for, so he won't wander off again and get into trouble. Back at Army headquarters, the commander is frustrated that a mere woman continues to elude his men. He instructs his second-in-command, Tsuyama, to do everything possible to capture Shinta. Elsewhere, Yuri realizes checkpoints have been set up on all roads leading to Tokyo, and soldiers are conducting stop-and-search operations. This forces her and Shinta to abandon their car and continue on foot through the woods. While camping for the night, Yuri asks him to hand over what he's carrying. Shinta unties something carefully wrapped around his waist, revealing a set of documents, which he gives to her. She looks through them and finds records of stock transactions and bank account details, but doesn't quite understand them. She asks Shinta about his father and what kind of work he did, but the boy doesn't know. His father was rarely around. Moments later, they head to a river port to continue their journey by boat. While Yuri goes inside the dockhouse to investigate, Shinta waits outside. She returns to find a young man questioning Shinta. She holds him at gunpoint. The boy claims to work at the port, but not wanting to take any chances, she decides to take him along. However, the army soon catches up with them. Yuri throws an explosive she found in the dockhouse, blowing up their boats. As they're getting off the boat, the young man seizes Shinta and demands the document, which the boy reluctantly hands over. He tries to shoot Yuri, but Shinta distracts him, giving her a chance to knock the gun away. They engage in a fierce fight, and when she realizes his skills match hers, he reveals he was trained by the Shidanara agency as well. She wonders why he's working with the army, but he insists he isn't, and flees with the document. Back home, Shinta finally gets to have a proper meal after many days, leaving him emotional. Iwami discovers that Hosomi's name appears in the records of the War Department's accounting bureau. He was an investor, a financial genius with powerful connections. During his inquiries, Iwami met Colonel Yamamoto, his senior from Navy school, at the residence of a retired officer named Masunaga. Both men are there to ask questions about Hosomi, which piques Iwami's curiosity about what they're truly after. Masunaga explains that the army never met Hosomi in person. When the military's budget tightened, they turned to him for financial help. Hosomi sold old military weapons and used the profits to illegally manipulate quotations across various stock exchanges. He transferred all earnings into his personal account and vanished. The total amount, 160 million, is now held in a Shanghai account bound by a contract. The agreement requires annual renewal, otherwise the funds revert to the bank. With only 10 days left before expiration, both the Army and the Navy are desperate to recover the bank document that grants access to the fortune. Later, after rescuing Shinta from a man who tried to kidnap him for personal gain, Yuri finds her brothel surrounded by soldiers demanding the boy's release. She confronts them, insisting the document is gone, but they refuse to leave. The standoff erupts into a crossfire. With help from her skilled ally Naka, the soldiers stand no chance. When a child gets caught in the chaos, Shinta rushes to tell Yuri. Iwami runs outside to save the boy while Yuri provides cover. As they retreat, Yuri is shot in the back, near the same scar from years ago, triggering a flood of buried memories. She fires back in anguish but misses before running out of bullets. Later, Iwami asks Shinta to hand over everything he has, believing there's a hidden item the army wants. The boy unwraps the scarf tied around his waist, revealing cryptic writings. By morning, Iwami deciphers it. It's the address of a temple. Yuri decides they should go there immediately. On the way, Iwami makes a stop to speak with Colonel Yamamoto, but he's ambushed and abducted by agents from the Ministry of Home Affairs. They warn him he's digging too deep into matters of national interest and must be detained until the situation is resolved. During his captivity, they reveal a shocking secret. Years ago, during her service with the Shidanara, Yuri had a child with her husband, Mizuno, the only man she ever loved. While Mizuno was away on assignment, their hideout was attacked and their baby was killed in the crossfire. That same incident left Yuri with the bullet scar on her back. Mizuno later died of illness, forcing her to leave the agency behind. Iwami eventually outsmarts his guard and escapes. He reunites with Yuri and Shinta, and together they head to the temple. There, Shinta presents a family photo as proof of identity and is given a cremation urn containing a transaction pin. When Yuri notices the same family photo on the table, she freezes in shock before rushing outside. It dawns on her that Kinya Hosomi, the man everyone is searching for, is none other than Mizuno, the love she believed was dead. Iwami comforts her, suggesting Mizuno must have been consumed by grief after losing their child and chose to disappear. Yuri condemns his actions as selfish, but Iwami sees him as a hero. Mizuno faked his death and became Hosomi to cripple the government's war ambitions. By seizing the funds, he made it impossible for Japan to invade other countries. He wanted to stop the cycle of war and rebuild the nation through economic power, and he did it all by himself. In a flashback, after Shinta fled his home, he sought refuge with Kunamatsu in the woods. Not long after, his father arrived, unable to escape the military blockade around the city. Realizing time was short, Kinya tied a cloth around Shinta's waist, warning him never to give it to anyone. He placed a backpack on his shoulders, urging him to head to Tamanoi in Tokyo and find a woman named Yuri. He handed him a gun and ordered him to run just as soldiers closed in. A fierce gunfight broke out, killing Kunimatsu and forcing Kinya to flee. When the army surrounded him, he took his own life rather than be captured. Back in the present, Yuri asks Shinta to bring out the gun his father gave him. She teaches him how to aim with precision, reminding him that his father risked everything to build a peaceful nation without war. It's now his duty to live and fulfill that dream. Afterwards, Iwami visits Colonel Yamamoto to discuss Shinta's protection. Given the situation, they conclude the Navy is the one body that can be trusted to handle the funds responsibly. The Army, in contrast, seeks them for personal gain. Yamamoto agrees to take Shinta into custody to keep him safe, though it means the boy will lose everything his father left for him. When the Army commander learns that Colonel Yamamoto plans to protect Shinta, he orders every unit to stand guard and capture the boy at all costs. The mission is clear: recover the pin, no matter the casualties. Tsuyama, humiliated time after time by his superior for failing to apprehend the boy, decides this night will end it. While scouting the area, Tsuyama suspects Yuri might use the sewers. Acting on instinct, he decides to investigate. His hunch proves right, but before they can descend, a series of explosions tear through the ground. Blasts erupt across multiple guard points, scattering soldiers and engulfing them in smoke. Amid the chaos, Yuri and Shinta emerge from one of the tunnels. Tsuyama, bloodied but relentless, attacks. The two clash in a violent close-quarters fight. Shinta raises his gun, trembling as Tsuyama mocks his father, calling him a coward and a thief. Shinta freezes. In a flash, Yuri fires, ending Tsuyama's life before he can strike again. The pair continue their escape and arrive at the tailor's shop, the same place Yuri once visited to collect her memorial dress. Soldiers comb the city in panic, closing in from every direction. Inside, the tailor serves them cookies to calm their nerves. As Shinta names each flavor, he laughs softly, recognizing them as his father's favorites. Yuri joins him, her tone gentle, revealing that Kinya once had a sweet tooth. Realization dawns on the boy. She knew his father well. As they prepare to leave, Yuri promises that one day soon, they'll share his father's favorite cookies again. Stepping into the fog-draped night, they head toward the Navy headquarters. But the army is already waiting. Gunfire echoes through the distance. At the naval headquarters, Iwami sits tensely with Colonel Yamamoto, who advises him to stay put. Leaving now would be suicide. Yet as the sound of battle grows louder, Iwami's restraint shatters. He borrows a gun from Yamamoto, who, recognizing his loyalty and resolve, quickly hands it over. Back at the battlefield, Yuri faces waves of soldiers, cutting them down with precision. Her allies, Naka and Kotoko, appear through the smoke, fighting fiercely by her side. Together, they push forward, but danger lurks in every shadow. Suddenly, Yuri is ambushed by the young assassin from the Shidanara agency, the one who once escaped with the document. His eyes burn with vengeance. Their fight is swift and ruthless. Yuri gains the upper hand and shoots him without hesitation. After a perilous journey, they finally reach the Navy headquarters, only to find the army entrenched at the entrance. The commander shouts the order to fire, demanding their surrender. Just then, Iwami bursts onto the scene on a motorcycle. As he nears the barricade, he leaps off, sending the bike crashing into the midst of soldiers. A fiery explosion follows, throwing the entire line into disarray. From inside the compound, Colonel Yamamoto watches in silence, bound by duty to remain neutral. Iwami yells for Yuri and Shinta to run toward the gate while he covers them. Bullets slice through the air. Yuri fires back relentlessly, shielding the boy as they advance. Overwhelmed by numbers, she takes several hits but refuses to fall. When they dive behind cover, Shinta pleads to turn back, but Yuri, pale but determined, takes his gun and loads a final round. Together, they make one last push. She shoots down the soldiers closing in on Shinta, protecting him with her final bursts of strength as they fight their way toward the gate. Naka and Kotoko soon arrive. With their help and Iwami's support, they manage to kill the remaining soldiers. Yuri shoots the commander. Realizing he has lost the battle and that only one of his men remains, the commander, angry and defeated, orders him to shoot the boy. But Yamamoto steps forward and commands them to stop, warning that firing now would mean opening fire on the Navy. The army commander and his last surviving soldier finally retreat. Wounded and covered in blood, Yuri staggers to the gate. She raises her gun at Yamamoto, demanding to know what he plans to do with the money. Yamamoto promises to use it to postpone the war for another decade and to help the country rise from the ashes and thrive once again. Yuri tells him he'd better keep his promise, because she can always come back. Before leaving, she hands Shinta his gun, but he tells her to keep it. As she walks away, her white dress now stained red, the color of sacrifice and loyalty, Shinta bows deeply to her in reverence and respect. In the aftermath of the failed operation that cost so many lives for nothing, the army commander is assassinated to prevent further chaos. 6 months later, Shinta visits Yuri to thank her properly for all she's done. The two sit by the seashore, sharing his father's favorite cookies, just as Yuri once promised. Shinta vows to study hard and return to Japan. In the closing scene, Yuri and Iwami are on a train. Iwami tries to express his feelings to her. Yuri leans closer, making him think she's about to kiss him, but instead, she whispers that the enemies are here, quickly draws her gun, and shoots. And that's the story of Yuri Ozone, an assassin who fought not for revenge, but for a future worth living. If this story moved you, show your support by subscribing to Asia Recaps. Every week, we bring you the most powerful tales from Hong Kong, Korea, and beyond, filled with love, betrayal, and redemption. Like the video, share it, and tell us in the comments, would you risk everything for peace or walk away like Yuri did? Stay tuned, more unforgettable stories are coming soon.